Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
John, who do you have?
I have Whitney Carlisle and Melvin Grant to plea.
Whitney Carlisle first, please. Thank you.
Whitney Carlisle is a house either side of the pond.
Whitney Carlisle. Whitney Carlisle.
Four cases.
Okay, what'd you say?
It's a house the other side of the pond.
Okay, so we fly into Lisbon.
I heard about that.
And it's dark. We come in at dawn, okay? Come in at dawn after flying overnight, 12 hours. And there's a bunch of people standing in the dark. They got some little lights on, but no AC, or they got about 500 people lined up ahead of us. I go, what the heck? They go, we have a terrible event. Apparently the electricity is out for the whole country, and Spain and parts of France. Spain sends us we're working off the electric grid in Spain, and nothing catastrophic has happened.
3 years.
I go, okay, so you're giving us like 15, 20 minutes and it'll come back on? They don't know anything. We stood there for about 3 or 4 hours. Then they told us nothing we can do. And come back tomorrow. We came back 3 days in a row before we got our bags. We were living out of what we brought from the other country.
Y'all didn't have electricity for any of those days, or did you?
Yeah, the electricity came on that day with a Yeah, so they had some stuff that they could fix, but most of the country was out that didn't have, the airport had some additional electric power that they could, turn on the generators.
Yeah.
And so it took 4 days though before everybody was lined. There were people who stayed that didn't have any electricity. Well, then on the way home yesterday, guy in front of me on the plane, he has an overdose of drug overdose. Well, we have four doctors on the plane, and everybody had hydrocodone on them. That they carry it around, and just because of that event. So, and
Just in case.
yeah, that was coming back from Barcelona. We went to Lisbon, then Madrid, then Barcelona. And that was but it was a religious thing, and it was very inspirational.
Good.
I'm complaining about that, but I went on a religious retreat, it's not like, okay, so you didn't have, so you suffered a little bit. What are you there for? You're not supposed to be in, a swimsuit, walking the beach and getting a suntan. You're there for a religious retreat, It's hardly the suffering that our Creator ended up, our God went through, right? If you believe in that, yeah. So, but you would think in 2025, you ought to have lights on major cities and air conditioning. And your baggage ought to come around within 4 days. Okay, who do we have, John?
Whitney Carlisle.
And ma'am, you're always welcome. Thank you. And those fine people up in Liberty County.
Sir, thank you.
Y'all just stay safe for us.
Yes, sir.
You are, we got 2 cases or 3? 3
It's
cases.
the 4 cases total, 3 to plea, 1 to dismiss.
Which one to dismiss?
21-38425,
Right. The
state jail felony.
unauthorized use of a motor vehicle?
Yes, sir.
That's going to be put aside. So we're going to be working with 3 cases, 21-38424, 3rd-degree felony of evading arrest or detention with use of a vehicle. 22-39108, assault on a public servant, 3rd-degree felony. And 22-39109, assault on a public servant, a 3rd-degree felony, right?
Yes.
None of these are Liberty County people, right?
No, as far as I know, they're
Liberty
not.
County,
I'll hear him in check.
a guest here, but, and I'm not making light of things, you got here's what's ironic is they work for you. I mean, where do you live? In Texas? You're a transient, but you're in Texas, right?
She's actually from Florida, Your Honor.
Nonetheless, when you're in Texas, okay, you're we welcome you as a guest, but you're a guest. Public officials work for guests as well as the people. And if you assault one, it's like you punched yourself in the face because they're sworn to help and protect you. Why would you punch yourself in the face, right? That's what happens when you assault a public servant. If they're doing their job. That's just, it's ludicrous. You might as well punch yourself because that's what you're really doing. They're protecting and serving you. All right. Again, we're waiving formal readings of these indictments for
Yeah.
reading in the summary.
Yes, Your Honor, please.
All right, number 21-38424. That case again alleges that on or about August 26, 2021 in Jefferson County, Texas, you committed evading arrest or detention with the use of a vehicle, a third-degree felony. And that means you're facing, if convicted, no less than 2 nor more than 10 years confinement in prison, and a fine up to $10,000 can be assessed. Do you understand? Yes, speak out. Okay. In next 22-39108, that alleges that on or about December 2nd, 2021 in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the third-degree felony of assault on a peace officer. That has the same punishment range, no less than 2 no more than 10 years confined in prison and a fine up to $10,000. Do you understand? Finally, on December 2nd, that same day, apparently a second official was assaulted. I'm looking at a different name of a victim, and that would be a public servant. And looks like these were jailers
Yes.
who were assaulted, and this is another third-degree felony. Again, no less than 2 no more than 10 years confinement in prison and a fine up to $10,000 can be assessed. You understand what you're facing in each of these 3 cases. Agreements have been reached. You would be pleading guilty, sentenced to 10 years in prison on each case.
Yes, Your Honor.
And cases would be suspended in each case.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that would be probation up to 10 years in prison. 10 years on probation to run concurrently, which means if you fail, your probation could be revoked and you could be sentenced no less than 2 nor more than 10 years actual time. You can be sentenced up to 10 years in prison. It's up to me. But I sentence you to 10 and you're looking at up to 10 years in prison on each case. Do you understand? And all of this would run concurrently. I'm sorry. Okay, you've already got time credit?
Yes, she has quite a bit of time in, Your Honor, because she was found incompetent and sent off to regain competence. So she has quite a bit of time already accrued. Not 10 years worth, but
These aren't aggravated, right? I mean, she's parolable in 3 and a third years,
yeah, but if she's.
but she won't be parolable. I mean, she couldn't get off probation for years. I mean, these are final convictions.
Right, either way.
Is that what you want to do? I mean, she's going to be under supervision a lot longer. I mean, parole, parole, but still, this is active. Parole is inactive, and if that's what y'all want, that's fine. But she's parolable now. I don't have control over parole.
That's the thing, we don't control it.
But we all know what's general, and that's all you can work on. That's generally what's right. But
I'm not
how
sure.
long do you stay unless you do badly in prison?
That's what I'm worried about.
I know. Well,
Get
that's
out.
for y'all to analyze. I'm just throwing that out there.
Violate and comes back, then she still has all the credit. Please ask him, let me ask you.
Question here. When we have service one. But I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, what we're saying is if you're on probation for anywhere from 3 and a third years up to 10 years, depending on the judge. And if you take the time.
Yeah, you got to you can't get off probation for 3 and a third more years.
John, has she been the hospital the whole time? She's never
The
gone.
greater majority of it, yes. So I'm not sure how much of that credit go to it.
That's what I'm looking at.
That's what I'm worried about, that if she doesn't have it, it goes off, then she's on it. That doesn't
Now-
count.
Give me a few minutes, let me see how much time.
Do you want to research this and come back on this?
Yeah, let's do this. Let's hold off now.
Because this is an important decision.
Let's take a look and see how much credit actually is accrued
It'll
there.
only take me a few minutes.
Okay. Or we can wait a few minutes for Lacey to work her magic.
Do what y'all want to do. I just want to, I
Because she
mean, that's
was,
what I saw from
because she was
the
originally.
chief seats,
Yeah.
looking at, hey, what about that?
Yeah, because she came in before I had her case, and then she got sent off to Galveston. Is that right? Was that she's Galveston? Okay. They sent her back saying she was not competent, but they couldn't do anything else for her, which kind of puts her in limbo. She stayed here in Jefferson County for quite a while. Till we got her sent off to Rusk, right? Where you went to? Where'd you go? Vicksburg. Okay, I knew it was one of the.
Looks like she has about 1,273 days. If she's been
That's
in
more than
continuous
three.
custody in the hospital,
How much you said? 1,000 what?
273 days.
Hmm.
So 42 months, 13 days. About
Well,
a year.
12, 36,
3.4 years.
36, 39 months. I mean, 40 months, 40
42
months
months,
So
is what,
how much you say? 3?
42 months.
no, she got 42, but it takes 40 for 3 1/3,
To be done.
Okay.
Let's step back.
3 1/3 years.
Let's hold off on this play. I think we might have a different way to go on this one.
What do you want to do? Hold off for the,
Just
another day or?
no, just hours or not hours, minutes. Just
Okay,
if we do this next play, I'll come back with her.
okay.
Yeah,
You gotta do some math here, man.
we do some math and make sure.
But I mean, math is a science. It's what it
There's
is.
no good at lawyers.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, John. Yeah, come on up. On, please, on Whitney Carlisle's cases. Is any going to be dismissed or there's 4 cases?
There was, I think, one being dismissed and UMB is going to be dismissed and the others are going to play out.
See how well that worked out.
It was, I think.
I have evading arrest, unauthorized use of.
That would
motor
be,
vehicle,
yes, that's.
38425.
That's
Okay, I'm gonna put that aside. So we now call 3 cases, 21-38424. Whitney Michelle Carlisle, that's you with Mr. West, your attorney, evading detention with the use of a vehicle, that's a 3rd-degree felony. 22-39108. Whitney M. Carlisle, that's 3rd-degree felony of assault on a public servant, that's up to 10 years in prison. And finally, another 3rd-degree felony of assault on a public servant in 22-39109. You are here with your attorney, Mr. West does, and the defendant waive formal readings of these indictments and the arraignments. Can we proceed in summary?
Yes, sir, please.
In summary, let's start off with numerically 38424. In summary, this states that on or about August 26, 2021 in Jefferson County, Texas, you committed the 3rd-degree felony of evading arrest or detention with the use of a motor vehicle. If convicted, you face a term of not more than 10 years or less than 2 years in prison. In addition, a fine may be assessed not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand what you're charged with and the punishment range applicable? You have to speak out so she can, that nicely. Okay. An agreement has been reached where you will be pleading guilty and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Then that would be.
No, Your Honor, this is what we're changing. We're going 3 years straight time.
You would be, yeah, that was the original case. That's been changed. And now you would be pleading guilty, sentenced to 3 years imprisonment to run concurrently with other cases. And with 39108 and 39109, F as in Frank 21-38425, that case would be dismissed. Is that your understanding of everything? If I follow that, you have no right of appeal of your case. Do you understand? Now speak out. How do you plead to this charge then, guilty or not guilty? Are you pleading guilty voluntarily, that is on your own free will and because you are guilty? I'm going to put that one aside for just a minute and we'll come back to it, okay? We won't forget it.
Are you, in order for that to be admissible, your defendant would have had to know about his criminal history.
Self-defense.
We now go to 22-39108. In this case, in summary, this charges you with on or about December 2nd, 2021 in Jefferson County, Texas, committing the third-degree felony of assault on a public servant. And again, that means you're facing a term of not more than 10 years or less than 2 years in prison. In addition, a fine may be assessed not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand?
That was supposed to have
I'm sorry. I didn't understand.
What would you ask?
That was supposed to have two.
Well, back up, what would you?
It's a third-degree felony and she's
Oh,
facing no less than 2, no more than 10.
Right, that's the.
10 years of
Yeah,
confinement. That's the punishment range for any offense like that.
That's the range.
Do you understand what you're charged with and what you could be punished for?
Right.
And in this case, an agreement's been reached where you would be sentenced to 3 years in prison to run concurrently with other cases. Is that your understanding? And that other case would be dismissed 38425 and these cases would run together. Is that your understanding? If I follow that agreement, ma'am, you have no right of appeal of your case. Do you understand that? And we're going to go to 22-39109. And in this case, in summary, this alleges that on or about December 2nd, 2021 in Jefferson County, Texas, you committed the third-degree felony of assault on a public servant. Again, the punishment range is the same as the others, no less than 2 nor more than 10 years confinement in prison, and a fine up to $10,000 can be assessed. Do you understand what you're charged with and the punishment range applicable? It's the same as in the other cases. An agreement's been reached. You would be pleading guilty, sentenced to 3 years in prison to run concurrently with the other cases. And again, cause number, that's an F. On planet Earth, no. On Venus, maybe, I don't know. F21-38425 would be dismissed. Is that your understanding? Yes.
Yes, sir.
If I follow this, you have no right of appeal of your case. Do you understand? In other words, in these 3 cases, they're all the same deal. You would be sentenced to 3 years in prison upon your pleas of guilty. They would run concurrently with each other. One other case would be dismissed. And you move on with your life and do better. You get credit for time served legally. On each of these cases, how do you plead? Guilty or not guilty? Are you pleading guilty voluntarily in each case and because you are indeed guilty? Show you in each of these cases what's marked as State's Exhibit 1. Did you sign those documents voluntarily? Understand them, discuss them with your attorney. Is everything true and correct here? State's Exhibit 1 is tendered into evidence without objection.
Objection.
Admitted. In each of these cases, State's Exhibit 1 states you are now mentally competent to enter your guilty plea, which is freely and voluntarily made. You know what you've been charged with. The indictment's been read to you. You've read it. You were guilty of the crimes charged and any lesser included offenses. You were giving up your rights to a jury trial or rights to the appearance, confrontation, cross-examination of witnesses, and you were totally satisfied with the representation provided by your lawyer. All of this is true in each of these cases. This states, so help you God. Is that so? All right. State's Exhibit 1 is made a part of the record for all purposes. In each of these 3 cases, the defendant has pleaded guilty to. Pre-sentence reports are waived.
Yes, please.
And let's make sure it's clear in the record on the competency. The defendant is declared competent and the parties, neither of the parties are suggesting there is any incompetency of the defendant. There was earlier in this case a declaration of incompetency of the defendant in these cases, which the court ruled favorably for the defense, ordered the defendant to be hospitalized on January 23rd, 2025. She was admitted to the Big Spring State Hospital under this court order pursuant to Article 46B of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, as she was deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial and to undergo psychiatric treatment. And Dr. Sarahi, Sarahi Torres, licensed psychological doctorate of psychology, license number 36610, evaluated the defendant on behalf of the Texas Health and Human Services Commission and completed the evaluation on the defendant and determined that in her letter dated April 9th, 2025, an analysis dated on that date, that the defendant had attained competency to stand trial in these cases before this court today, these 4 cases. And upon consultation with the team agreed the defendant is competent to stand trial or appears competent to stand trial. And it is of vital importance that you continue to take your medicine responsibly and properly. That keeps you well from being unhealthy here. And that manages your problems that you may have. So the court and by the way, this April 9th, 2025 analysis, which consists of a cover page and a 6-page analysis signed by Dr. Torres at Big Spring State Hospital, are made a part of the record in this hearing for all purposes, and it will be called Court's Exhibit 1 for this hearing on this date for each of these 4 cases. I wrote all cases above on this exhibit sticker, but there are 4 cases, including the 3 she pleaded guilty to and the one that's to be dismissed. So there is no issue of competency any longer.
Right.
The defendant is hereby declared competent. I find that the defendant, there is evidence supporting defendant's pleas to find her guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I now find the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in cause numbers 21-38424, 22-39108, and 22-39109. I am following this agreement. The defendant is hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 3 years. These sentences shall run concurrently. 21-38425 is to be dismissed. I will sign that when the dismissal motion.
I signed it already. Yes, Your Honor.
38425 is hereby dismissed. As you were convicted in the 3 other cases. Do you understand, Ms. Carlisle, what has happened today? Okay. Do you have a master plan of how you, when you get out of prison here and custody, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? What do you want to do? An artist?
Art dealer.
An art dealer. Oh, okay. What kind of art do you like best? Renaissance?
Yeah.
Oh, I just came.
You just came back from Spain.
I came back from Europe and Gaudi, I think, the artist Gaudi is part of his work is in the greatest, a couple of the greatest churches, the most magnificent churches existing in Barcelona and some other parts of Spain. But there are some great, that's where you need to go to study and see what they've done, because it's magnificent. And they're still working on some of it. It's been for hundreds of years. We're just improving, adding to the artwork and many of the churches are their finest art forms They're magnificent and they've withstood centuries and they look modern and new. It's magnificent. But anyway, good for you. Do well. Stay out of trouble, please. Art is special. It makes people happy and it lives on forever. Okay. Best wishes to you. You are excused. Thank you, ma'am. All right. What else do we have today, gentlemen and lady? Anything else? Okay, I think that's it. We are in recess.